Imagine being falsely accused of things you never did. Imagine being mocked, disgraced, and banished from the very land you called home. This is the story of Nnenna, a young African woman whose life was torn apart by jealousy and lies.
Long ago, in a quiet African village, there lived a young girl named Nnenna. Her father was a hunter, brave and respected, while her mother was a palm wine seller, known for her sweet, fresh wine that travelers and villagers loved to drink. Nnenna grew up watching her parents work hard, and her father often told her, "My daughter, always do good. Never repay evil for evil. Leave judgment in the hands of God, for the evildoer always meets their day." That wisdom stayed with her like a seed planted deep in her soul. But life is a river that flows where it wishes. When Nnenna was still young, her mother died, leaving her with grief. With no choice, she took over her mother's palm wine business. Her shop became a place of laughter, because she always cheered people up with her jokes and stories. At the same time, her father fell gravely ill. Nnenna worked hard, using the little she earned to care for him, buying herbs and medicine. But soon, jealousy crept into the village like a snake in the grass. The men loved buying palm wine from Nnenna, not only because it was sweet, but because of her warmth and laughter. The women grew bitter. They whispered lies. "She is stealing our husbands. She is sleeping with them." But the truth was simple. Nnenna had never even laid with a man before. A proverb says, when jealousy enters the heart, the truth becomes the first victim. But women's gossip spread like fire. Soon, men who once laughed with her pretended to believe the lies, and the whole village turned against her. Ashamed and mocked, Nnenna stopped going to her shop. With no income, she could no longer buy medicine for her father. Day by day, his strength faded, and one sorrowful night, after months of sickness, he breathed his last, the disgrace of his only daughter, the poverty, the shame that crushed him. Nnenna was left alone. Not long after, her enemies struck their final blow. They dragged her before the village chief, shouting accusations. Without proof, without compassion, they demanded she be banished. The chief agreed, and so, in tears, disgraced and broken, Nnenna walked away from her father's land. As she journeyed along the dusty road, her eyes swollen with weeping, she met a man, a stranger from the city, tall and well-dressed. His name was Nnenna, a businessman traveling to the region to invest. He stopped and asked gently, "Why do you weep, young woman?" Nnenna told him her story, and like the villagers, he did not mock or judge. He comforted her, gave her food, and soon saw the beauty of her heart. Over time, his care turned into love. And not long after, they were married. Together they moved to the city, where life grew brighter. But Nnenna carried a secret. She could not read or write. Her husband noticed, but instead of mocking her, he hired a private tutor to teach her at home. Every evening, Nnenna sat with her tutor, tracing letters, reading books, learning numbers. Slowly, she discovered knowledge. A proverb says, "The child who is not taught will build a house with crooked hands." But Nnenna was taught, and she grew into not only a loving wife but also a wise woman in business. Years passed. Their home was blessed with joy. They had 3 children. The first, a son named Mike, followed by 2 beautiful daughters. Mike grew into a fine young man. One day, he brought home a young woman he wished to marry. But when Nnenna saw her, her heart froze. The girl was from her former village. Memories of disgrace, pain, and humiliation flooded her heart. She refused immediately. "No son of mine will marry from that cursed place," she declared. Mike was heartbroken, but Nnenna, wise as always, said, "Nnenna, love must not suffer because of old wounds. Did I not meet you broken and rejected? Yet I chose you. Give our son the chance to choose his happiness." Nnenna wrestled with her pain, but in time she softened. She called her son and his bride-to-be, blessed their union, and accepted the girl as her daughter-in-law. Thus, her family grew stronger. Meanwhile, back in her village, things had changed, but for the worse. The farmlands no longer yielded good harvests. Hatred spread like poison, and the economy of the land collapsed. As a proverb says, when a community drives away its blessing, it must learn to dance with poverty. Nnenna, on the other hand, flourished with her husband. She built wealth and success. One day, Nnenna turned to her and said, "Let us return to your village and invest there. They may not deserve you, but they need hope." When they returned, the villagers were shocked. The woman they had once banished now came back in glory. Standing beside a wealthy man, they bought farmland, introduced modern crops, and built companies. Soon, the same women who once spat at her name were lining up, picking for jobs. And Nnenna, though still scared by the past, employed them and paid them fairly. But not all hearts changed. Some are still burned with jealousy. They plotted to harm her, but Nnenna had become wiser. She installed CCTV cameras in every corner of her building. Every wicked plan was captured. When their plots were exposed, they were disgraced before the whole community. Slowly, respect grew. The villagers realized their great mistake. The woman they had mocked and banished became their greatest blessing. Nnenna's story spread far and wide. She was no longer the girl they shamed, but a woman of honor, wealth, and wisdom. And so, the elders of the land said, "Never despise the one you mock today, for tomorrow they may be the hand that feeds you. The stone rejected by the builders may one day become the cornerstone." Nnenna lived the rest of her days in joy, standing tall beside her husband, raising her children, and blessing the very land that once cast her out. Her story became a lesson for generations that truth, no matter how long hidden, will one day shine like the sun. Then if you enjoyed this story, please don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Also, drop a comment below for your opinion.